What up? What up? What up? This is RNJ Fantasy Football Talk, and we back again, people. What's going on? You know what it is. It's Ryder. I'm Ryder. What's going on, Ryder? It's Jay. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey man, everything is good.
Okay.
Running a little bit behind on a few things, but
Uh,
we
it
trying to
happened.
get things working.
Yeah.
Well, for one, I see the title is not exactly right, is it? It's talking
No,
about quarterbacks. That was
that is
last week.
definitely not it.
We're talking running backs today. So you know, it's been an interesting week. I say for running backs. We talked earlier about all the different money that was distributed to Mbappe, the soccer player, basketball Jalen Brown, and finally I guess Saquon Barkley gets his money, $11 million, which
Yes.
which is I think an incredible discount. It's what 29 million a year less than what they're giving Daniel Jones, and there's no doubt about the fact that Saquon is who makes it happen for that team. So if there's a message in there, is mamas don't let your sons grow up to be running backs, because
Please
it's
don't.
it's a hard it's a hard life for them right now. But it's been pretty good for me this week. Work is good. We, us, and our lovely producer have a dynasty draft
Hey, come.
next week. Are you ready?
I'm always ready. You know that it's draft season. You know. I'm in the groove of things. We was talking the other night, and we was like, man, I was like, I ain't did a fantasy draft or a mock draft,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was like, I need to get one in. I'm gonna get one in at some point, and it's probably gonna be with you more than anything. So
I would hope I'm invited.
yeah, yeah, it's just gonna. I got to get one in, but I'm ready, man. Always ready to roll. You know, that's what we do. So we're gonna,
So you're ready. I'm not. Well, you're not ready, but you're gonna get ready. I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
get
yeah.
ready with you. What about you over there in producer land? Are you ready for this mock draft or the regular draft? Actually, I should say.
Oh, for for Dynasty? Not quite.
Not quite yet.
Not quite.
She said,
No,
not
not quite.
quite.
I'll be ready when it's time to draft. I'm just like if we was drafting right now, like whoops, nope.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It's just been one of those things. Still trying to get back in the groove. Uh, Hey, what else? Any good? Well, we talked money. There's none for running backs. Any other good NFL news?
of course.
What you got?
So a quarterback got paid. The
Oh
Brent
yeah,
Struck is
how did I
backed up.
forget that?
He definitely got paid. He got paid $262 million. So
Yeah.
he definitely is. Herbert got paid, and they said that Joe Barrow is probably gonna get around 270,
Yeah, he's
two
gonna
seventy
get
two.
more.
So
So Lamar Jackson's reign as the highest paid quarterback.
yeah,
It wasn't that long, but he had a good run at it, and
yeah.
he got 260 million. So I ain't gonna cry for him.
I'm not. I don't feel bad for him.
Do
I
you
really
think
don't.
Justin Herbert is worth it? We did our quarterback tiers a couple of weeks ago.
I think he is. I think he's been at a disadvantage for most of the part since he's been there because of either the coordinator or the coach or players not being available. So I think yes, and for what he's done, like last year he did, I want to say 4,700 yards,
Yeah.
and his two top receivers played 4 games together. So I think he definitely deserves. I was trying to figure out who he was throwing to last year, throwing that many yards. So
Anyone he could.
I mean, that's what it sounded like to me. So I
It
think he
was some
deserves it.
desperate times. So yeah, he's definitely he's got the goods.
Yeah, I
So
just think coaching wise has hurt him a lot. But that's neither here nor there. Ain't nothing we can do about the coaching unless they decide to find somebody else. But I feel like if he was under another coach of like a Mike Tomlin or something like that, he would have been way more successful in the playoffs because he hasn't missed the playoffs but once.
well,
So
yeah, one and done.
yeah, so
They could have been
he
in there twice if they listened to me, because I told them when they played the Raiders that a couple of years ago, tie, and both teams would have been in. So he could have had two playoff appearances, but you know,
But the coach going for it on fourth down and doing this other stuff. So I mean, you really don't do it. But
I, when you said quarterback, I thought you were going to talk about Jimmy
man,
Garoppolo because
I
he is back
mean,
and he's ready.
Jimmy is
Past his
cleared.
physical,
He's
so
cleared. I mean, I guess you the guy over here, man. You know more about. Well, I do know about Jimmy
I say
Garoppolo.
you got way more years of experience on Jimmy
So,
Garoppolo than I have.
but you're that's your boy now, not mine. So I got enough to deal with over here. So other than that, yeah,
I'm not. Look, I said already. I'm on the record saying I don't think it's gonna be a good year for the Raiders. I don't. I'm not a big fan of Jimmy Garoppolo, but I don't think it's a huge step back from Derek Carr. We'll see how well Josh McDaniel's system goes. That's what he wanted. He wanted somebody who knows his system. He got it, and so if they suck, it's all back on him. So
well, I got a question for you. Now, if Jimmy Garoppolo stays healthy the whole year,
that's
and
not happening. But
no,
continue.
no, no, it's a question. It's a
Yeah, I
question.
know.
If he stays healthy the whole year and he throws, because I think his best year he threw for like 39 and some change. If he breaks the 4,000 mark this year and he stays healthy the whole year, who's to blame for him being hurt and not productive in San Francisco? Is it him or is it Kyle Shanahan?
I would say it's be Kyle Shanahan's part of it as the coach, but
Hmm.
I would go with the field, the training staff, because it's not like it's just been Jimmy Garoppolo hurt, like year in
Yeah,
year out.
oh, of course,
They're one of the league leaders in injuries.
of course.
But you know, I say this, and we talked about it before. Jimmy Garoppolo had that one year when, despite his injury, he kept playing, and that was when he saw his job potentially being taken from
Yeah,
him. So his motivation, I think, to play depends on who's breathing down his neck, and I don't think he has that
oh, he
in
definitely doesn't have
he
that.
doesn't have
Where
that in Las
mm-mm.
Vegas. So we might see him. Oh, my pinky hurts. I'm out for the next 8 weeks,
I mean,
which is cool with me.
you could. I mean, that could it could be the thing, but I don't know. I don't know. I just think he gonna be Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he's gonna be that. He's gonna. It's gonna take a lot for Devontae to do well this year. They're gonna have to kind of force feed him a little bit. But I don't know if Jimmy has a good year and just say Brock Purdy or whatever don't have a good year. I think it's a bad look for Shanahan. I think it's a bad look because it's more of a restraint. He was restrained more in San Francisco as far as play calling. Like you can't audible at the line. I think he can have more freedom and in Vegas this year to kind of operate under his own terms a little bit. So I'm not a Jimmy fan, but I think Jimmy will be he'll have more freedom to do more, and it's not going to be all right. Call this play and then call that play, but we'll see.
The drawing point is Jimmy Garoppolo knows the system, so you would
Yeah,
think Josh McDaniels is gonna have trust in him to run the system. So
that's true.
hey, we should see the best Jimmy Garoppolo has to offer. I'm
That's
just
true.
not convinced that's a lot.
Me either. I don't think so either.
We'll
But
see.
I mean, we'll see. But also, Aaron Rodgers took
Oh yeah.
$35 million less to save the Jets some money, which I didn't see that coming. Much as he is money hungry, but you know, I that's big news for me. I think that's big for him. I think he ain't putting his shoulder. I've seen him with Zach Wilson. They showed like a picture of him and Zach Wilson together, and he was talking. So I don't know what changed with him, but I guess
He's near
different.
retirement. This is legacy. This whole Jets thing is a legacy move. He has to be successful with the Jets because
Okay,
he can't have Green Bay thrive and he go down. He
that's
has
true.
to say, hey, y'all great. Y'all wanted to go to some young blood. Good luck with that. I'm still Aaron Rodgers, so he has to make this thing work. So he can take less money. He can be the mentor that he wasn't necessarily in Green
True.
Bay. He's gonna be all in. which is why he could be a sneaky good quarterback to draft
And
this year.
that's the thing. I got him right outside of the top 10,
Yeah,
and I'm thinking like 11, 12 ish.
I can
In,
live with that.
in my opinion, just because of we seen what he did the last couple of years. Well, the year before, yeah, last year he went for like 38 or something like 3,800 yards, if I'm not mistaken. But I think he does the same thing. But he's going to be hovering around between 38 and 4,000 this year. So
I'm really interested to see what he does with Garrett Wilson because that
I mean,
that could that could be some stuff. I don't know if you saw the NFL players, ranking of players,
yeah,
and they still got Aaron Rodgers in the top five of quarterbacks in the league. So
wow,
we'll see whether that transfers over to. I think a lot of that's just his legacy as Aaron Rodgers,
yeah,
but we'll see how
yeah.
it translates over to fantasy football. So
Well, they saying Garrett Wilson, he's supposed to be the, I guess, the what they trying to say is the next Devontae,
yeah,
but Devontae, it's only one Devontae. You
but
can't, yeah.
but anyone that can put up those kind of numbers with Zach Wilson, I expect you to put up some real
Of
good
course.
numbers. So
So, I
we'll see
mean,
how.
we'll see.
But we both said we think it's going to be a lot of run game in this
Oh,
movie
yeah. I
with
think it's
Garrett.
going to be a lot of run.
So it might temper some of the
Yeah.
high expectations for Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. But hey, it's running back day. Any other
So,
news, or you want to jump right in?
jump right in.
All right. Well, let's get started. And for those that are viewing online, welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. We're going to go through these running backs just like we did a couple of years ago with quarterbacks. Try to give you guys who we think are the best players for you to grab. And, hey, you join in with us. And if you have any questions, by all means, be sure to let us know. And if you think we're wrong or we're sleeping on a player, let us know that as well. I'll start with the running backs. The tier one list is the easiest one. It's the guys you already know.
Yeah.
It's Christian McCaffrey, of course. Derrick Henry, always good. Austin Eckler. Nick Chubb is in our tier one group this year. And Saquon Barkley, we talked about getting this money. I think he's going to have a dynamite year. On that
Yes.
1 year deal, he has
Yes.
to. It was interesting. And this was, I forget which running back said it. Basically, they can get punished basically by being productive
Mm-hmm.
because if they run for 2,000 yards 1 year, then the narrative would be, oh well, now they're run down, and so they don't give them the necessarily the money that someone at another position would get for being so productive, and so
Which I don't get that. I don't understand that because Derrick Henry has ran for
year
2,000
in year
yards.
out. He
and
had that 1 year a couple years ago. He got injured, but
see, but a lot
he
of
was killing
people,
it before then.
and that's the thing, a lot of people will say, well, he's injury prone. That's not true because yes, he missed those 8 games, but you do remember he came back in the same season from a broke foot. So
That was
for
true.
him to come back from that, it's just amazing in itself. And for Saquon, I think Saquon did a deal where he could gain an extra $909,000,
Yeah,
just in incentives. But my thing is, why does it take that for them to get paid? So he basically is on a 1 year deal to prove that he's good.
like he had something to prove, right?
Like he got something to prove, and then you're gonna show him the money. When you just paid Daniel Jones $40 million a
Do you
year,
think they show him the money? Because I'm wondering,
I think he
even
leaves.
then, will they do the same thing again?
Well, per the
Try to make
contract,
something. Yeah,
they still franchise him.
yeah,
So that was never took off the table. With me, I would have been like, well, take the franchise off the table because I don't want it. So that way I can go freely next year and go play with anybody I want. So that's what I would have done. But they just paid a lineman today $67 million today, which you need your O lineman. No disrespect to the O lineman, but you need your O lineman. But at the end of the day, you paid your quarterback $40 million who hasn't passed for
that's crazy.
3,500 yards. So that I don't understand. But I mean, he's responsible for at least 6% or 7% of the offense that the Giants have. But who knows? I could be wrong.
Hey, we gonna find out. Welcome Tony to the show. Our resident commander. Well, hey, that's a football story we didn't talk about. Are they going to be the Commanders much longer? They have their new ownership in place.
This, this year,
They already had the rumors that after the season they might change the name again.
they
So
need to they need to wash the stain of that old owner off of them. Period. Lord.
yeah. That to me that is the craziest thing. Like they every year the team has a different name. I wouldn't buy a jersey this for the next 3 years. Like, nah, I have to have some consistency with your naming. But
I
Tony,
mean,
welcome to the show. Let us know what you think about running backs. We did our tier ones. Let me know who let somebody out. What you got?
I think going forward, I think they will. Once they change the name, I think it'll be like that for a long time. So it's fine. So we got tier two, and one of these guys dropped the tier two this year. We got Jonathan Taylor, Tony Pollard, Najee Harris, Josh Jacobs, and Brees Hall. Out of this five, I want to say Jonathan Taylor probably is the one I think will climb back into that tier one. We gotta see what Brees Hall does as far as the ACL injury, things of that nature coming back from that. And Tony Pollard, is he a one hit wonder?
A few things on this tier two list. Like you said, the only reason Jonathan Taylor disappointed if he was hurt last year, and
Yeah,
I
of
made the
course.
same argument about Najee Harris. I expect both of those guys to be
Me too.
potential tier one guys, as well as Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard has shown he has the goods this year. Uh, he doesn't share the backfield with anybody. Ezekiel Elliott's gone. We're gonna
Yeah.
see whether he's gonna be that bell cow. I think he probably will be, and if he gets the carries, Tony Pollard could put up some big numbers. I think all of those. Honestly, this whole tier two group has the potential. Though
Oh yeah,
there's two question marks, and the two names you didn't say. Josh Jacobs, he's still trying to get his money, and so
definitely.
there's still the chance he could sit out for some long term. So drafting him, I'd still do it, but you do run that risk of
Of
will he play?
course.
How long it takes for them to get it done? Will he play? And Brees Hall's coming off an injury himself, and so how long does it take him to get back into form? But I love this whole tier two group.
But do you think you're the resident Raider fan here? Do you think they pay him? Because I think they should.
I think
Um,
definitely. I'm wondering will they come up with a similar Saquon type deal, where they give him a 1 year deal, but at a higher because I guess the selling point for and it still, what to me wasn't much of a selling point. It, they paid him more than the franchise tag would have been, barely,
Not that much
not
though.
that much more, right?
No, not
So
that much. Like no. But now this the argument though.
yeah,
If you had to be the Raiders, okay, so you did it. Saquon did it for multiple years.
yeah,
If he wasn't hurt, you did it. You had one great year, and you had 1 year where it was average. The rest of your career was 1,000 yards, 900 yards, but you had one breakout year. Now, can he walk in and ask for that same thing? I mean, which wasn't really much money, to be honest
well,
with you.
it was Josh Jacobs' first year leading the league in rushing, but he's been a
Oh, of
reliable
course.
running back. He's had a few like foot injuries as well,
Yeah.
but overall, he has the production. He should have been rookie of the year. His first year in the league, they gave it to Kyler Murray just because he's a quarterback. But there's
Yeah.
enough evidence to say Josh Jacobs deserves that kind of money. Um, I hope they work it out, but I honestly not very. I'm optimistic, but cautiously optimistic.
Do you think
I
you
don't
think
think
Jimmy
I don't
G's
think it's gonna come down to him sitting out. I think they try to get something done because, quite frankly, they need him for that offense to work.
okay? Now, do you? I mean, And I was about to ask you that because if you know Jimmy needs a strong running game, and he
Yeah.
needs definitely needs a strong running game, and he needs a strong defense. Something that y'all don't have, but y'all can give him the strong running game to complement him in the backfield because he has to have that. Because if you stack eight in the box, or if you play a package where you can just beat Jimmy in the passing game, play 15, 20 deep,
Yeah.
you got to have that running game to kind of off balance that. And I think they got to think about that as far as for Jimmy's sake. Because y'all do really need that as far as Jimmy. So yeah.
Yeah, they like you said, Jimmy, for all he is worth, he's to me he's an average kind of quarterback, and so
Hmm.
you got to have that strong offensive line, and you really need a strong defense. They did get Marcus Peters, so that should help on the
Yeah.
defense, but they're not going to have a defense anywhere near what you guys have in San Francisco. So if they don't get their running game together, it's not going to be a good season. So I'm hoping that they get this contract done and quickly because he needs to be in camp
Yeah.
and he needs to
Can't
be
be
in camp
started.
soon. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Need it. You definitely need it, man.
yeah. Tony's saying he was a beast for him last year. He Josh Jacobs surprisingly was in I think our tier 4 group last year. So we didn't have him ranked that high. So he proved us a lot wrong, and so we'll see whether he can have a repeat performance and continue to be a beast
Yeah. Definitely.
defensively.
He should. I think he should though. I think because he was ready to sign a deal. They say
Yeah,
he was in the
he was
parking
sitting
lot.
in
He
the
was,
parking lot with Max Crosby,
yeah, they say he was ready to sign a deal.
trying to get
I
him
don't
out.
know. It
He,
fell
he,
apart at the end, but at the end of the day, I hope he show up because anybody that get him in the draft is definitely going to get a good running back, and it's not that many of them.
yeah.
If you really
There,
speaking as far as running back.
there's few what you would call bell cows in the NFL because most
Hmm.
teams are going with running back committee. So
Exactly.
Josh Jacobs had like 340 rushing attempts last year. The only person that had more attempts was, of course, Derrick Henry,
Derrick Henry.
the bell cow of bell cows. And
Yeah,
so there's only one other running back, and you can guess it, Nick Chubb. They had over 300 carries. So
definitely do so.
that's it.
Love
It's those three, and then everybody else. You had Saquon was close, but everyone else was under 300 running back. I mean, rushes for the season. So you don't
it.
have too many guys that can by themselves carry that kind of load. And so if you can get him, you you need to, and that's for fantasy football, and that's for the real NFL. So the Raiders need to get it together. And
Yeah,
like you said, pay the
let me
man.
ask you this.
Yeah,
In this new, I guess you could say new day and age, but because back in the day when we first started, running backs went pretty fast as far as
mm-hmm.
draft. It was more of a draft heavy for running backs early on in fantasy when we started. Um, but nowadays it's more of a receiver thing.
Yeah.
Now, looking at these first two tiers, where do these guys fit in these early rounds with these receivers going higher
Yeah.
nowadays?
So to rephrase your question, is it time for zero running back like it was last year? Because traditionally, you see the
Hmm.
running backs make up almost the entire first round,
Yes.
with maybe a Travis Kelsey thrown in and then a couple of wide receivers. I think a lot of these guys that we mentioned are going to be in the second round. This
Wow.
now there's some like your Christian McCaffreys that'll still be in the first round. If you
Hmm.
ask me, Derrick Henry, and Nick Chubb, our whole tier 1 group should still be in the first round. But the tier 2 group, you might see starting to slide back a
Wow.
little bit in some of your average drafts, that holds up to what we've seen. It's kind of early. It's hard to really put a lot of uh, uh, stock into average draft position this time of year, only because a lot of drafts aren't starting until August. But from the early results, you're
Yeah.
seeing a bunch of wide receivers in that first round, and it's kind of a even split. Even that first overall pick, some go with Christian McCaffrey, some go with Justin Jefferson, and you kind of see that go throughout the rest of the first round as well, where you're going to see quite a few of these running backs that you would have normally seen going in the first round, might slap back. Even the great Derrick Henry, some people
I don't know
are
about
sleeping
that.
on, and what's I don't see how it's possible he's not a first rounder.
Nah,
Uh,
he got it.
but
Come on, man. I mean, for me,
yeah,
I mean, I see people going zero running backs, but I don't know about that. I still think because I'm more of the old school traditional way of drafting. I mean, I get it.
yeah,
Receivers get way more targets, receptions,
it's becoming a
yards.
passing league. Yeah,
It's coming to pass the league. But when you have, to me, you still can put because I looked at Derrick Henry's numbers and I looked at like Jamar Chase, right? Not Jamar Chase. I'm sorry, Jefferson.
okay.
So Jefferson did about 1,800 yards,
Mm-hmm.
8 touchdowns. He had 129 receptions. But if you put Derrick Henry's numbers combined together, it's the same thing. So between catching and
Mm-hmm.
receiving, and Derrick Henry actually had more touchdowns than him on the ground. I mean, he had more
Yeah,
touchdowns, period. So you can say, yeah, it's cool to go two receivers, it's cool to go zero running backs, but some of these running backs are giving you the same production as those top tier receivers are giving you.
yeah,
So I still think at the end of the day, if you're doing a McCaffrey or if you're doing an Eckler, Eckler is giving you 18
yeah.
touchdowns a year.
Eckler has to be still a
Yeah,
first rounder for me. It's some of it's just a no brainer because you don't have too many guys like that.
yeah,
But it was wild to me is Bijan Robinson is still a first rounder for and he's coming up. If you've been watching
yeah. We gonna talk about
tier
that.
rankings, he's coming up. But Bijan Robinson is a first rounder in average draft position right now, and Derrick Henry isn't. That just blows my mind. It completely blows my mind.
Not for redraft in my book.
Yeah,
Not even like in Dynasty, of course.
yeah,
Yeah,
of
but
course.
redraft, not even, no, no. Um, speaking of tier three, we gonna talk
Yeah,
about tier three.
let's go. Tier three is crowded. Who you got?
Travis Etienne, Bijan Robinson, Joe Mixon, J.K. Dobbins, Ramaji Stevenson, Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker III, Damian Pierce, Miles Sanders, Javante Williams. Um, Bijan Robinson, I guess this is the right tier for him, but I'm gonna just be honest with you. A lot of people are high on Bijan, but they keep forgetting about the running back they had last year, and people don't understand that he went over 1,000 yards last year. I don't understand the pick for Atlanta. If I was Atlanta, I would have went a different direction. I mean, that's just me. Either
Yeah,
quarterback or receiver or something because they need other pieces.
they
Now,
need a lot of pieces.
yeah,
Yeah,
but Bijan's a good player, so I'm not taking nothing away from him. But I think he's getting way, and I done seen a lot of, uh, I guess, draft boys and stuff like that, and people taking him number one overall
yeah.
in redraft leagues, which is insane to me
I've
because
heard experts say that he could be the number one overall running back at the end of the year, which
not even.
that would blow my mind.
It's
But
called a rookie wall,
yeah,
first of all. So I don't know, man. I just think he's. I ain't gonna say overhyped, but I
I
think
will.
they kind of
And,
okay.
and let me temper that by saying I understand why Atlanta pick. I still understand why Atlanta made the pick. It's because he's a generational talent. He could be. To me, he was the best player in the entire draft because I said I wasn't big on quarterbacks, and even though they had a lot of talented wide receivers, there were a lot. There were no players like Bijan Robinson. He's could be one of those all time greats. So I get it. You don't
Yeah,
pass on a guy like that.
makes
However,
sense.
for fantasy football purposes,
Mm-hmm.
one overall for any rookie to me is crazy. I preach the same thing I preach every week, and that's go with consistency, go with guys that you've seen do
Yeah.
it before. And like you said, it's not like there's not a lot of talented running backs in Atlanta. They had 1,000 yards just from Tyler Algier just last year. And I think there's enough. And we said this before because we talked about him. We talked about Bijan Robinson. Oh,
I've seen that.
Tony's Bijan Robinson. That's the Robinson we're going to talk about for now.
Oh my God, I can't. Yeah, I seen that. I was like, hold on, did he really just put that? Oh God.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
we'll get to Brian Robinson, but for now, Bijan, he's one of those generational talents, and I think he's gonna. I would not be surprised if he finishes in an RB1, as in the top 12 running backs in the league. That's to me that's a no brainer that is possible. But to see him drafted above guys who we've seen year in year out produce in fantasy is kind of where I draw the line. Is okay, we're kind of overhyping. There's a lot of hype, and it's good hype. He deserves a lot of hype, especially in Dynasty. But for redraft, I'm like, I'm not taking that big of a risk. Hey, I'm going to pick all those wide receivers that we talked about
I'm
before I
pick
Bijan Robinson. So,
I don't get it, man. It's and I hope he does well. I mean, definitely.
I think he will. Like I said, we saw just last year, Atlanta's going to run the ball because no offense to Desmond Ridder. As good as he could be.
See, that's what I don't understand.
They're gonna have to run, and they're gonna. That's why we talked about before. I think there's enough for Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson to coexist, sort of like a Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb thing, because they're gonna have to run the ball because they have to make up for what they don't have at quarterback.
I mean, but my thing is this: when you don't have an effective quarterback back there, that's gonna mess up everything you try to do anyway, because if the defense doesn't respect your quarterback, they're gonna key on your running game because yes, you have a good running back back there, so they're gonna key on that and they're gonna make him try to win the game.
Yeah.
But again, maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I would have went a different direction and just tempered and did some other things, but I don't know about that. I just think, to me, Bijan should have went to Philly. I think Philly was the perfect.
Come on, they've got enough talent.
I mean, because
I know I get the move, especially
Philly
would have been but no, Philly has enough.
No, Philly would have been a perfect landing spot.
Oh yeah, it would have been a great landing spot for him.
I think Philly really wanted him. To be honest with you, but I think Atlanta just beat him to the punch. So, but I think Philly would have been a better spot for him because of the quarterback situation, and I think
not that Atlanta has a bad offense, but that offense is just so too.
Yeah,
there's an embarrassment of talent with the Eagles. So I'm glad they didn't end up with it.
So I think, but Atlanta, Atlanta got what they got, and I actually like Atlanta young core. But I like Drake London. I like Bijan, but I just think people are too high on Bijan. I'm willing to wait a year, especially in redrafts. I'm willing to wait a year to say, you know what? All right, cool. I seen it. Now maybe I can jump on that and say, cool, I'll take him. But to me, I don't know.
I think it'll work out. But yeah. But now I'm with you. I'm gonna try my luck somewhere else and see. But let's look at some more players in this tier 3 grouping. And sorry that we're apparently hating on Washington running backs.
Oh gosh, no.
But there's a reason for it. But let's talk about a couple of other guys in this tier 3 grouping that I think have the potential to really do some big things. Travis Etienne, J.K. Dobbins, and Ramondre Stevenson we talked about. Do you think any of them can jump up to the tier 2 and maybe even do any of them have a chance to be a tier 1 running back?
I would say Kenneth Walker is, for me, Kenneth Walker has I would give him probably the best chance. I think for me, Aaron Jones is still good. Aaron Jones can jump into that tier 2. But Kenneth Walker, it was really good before he got hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, he was really good before he got hurt. And I think he can be that one to jump in there. Now, Ramondre Stevenson is the one that I don't
Yeah.
I'm never high on Patriots running backs just because
I never have been to now. Yeah,
I'm
I
not,
feel you.
man. I think they bringing in Leonard Fournette. They might bring in Leonard Fournette. I'm
Yeah.
like why? You already got a couple running backs already, and I get they like running backs, but you're gonna take away from Ramondre Stevenson by bringing in Leonard Fournette. So for me, I like Ramondre Stevenson here from what he did last year,
Mm-hmm.
but as a high pick because you're gonna not too high, but you're gonna get him at least before the eighth round
Yeah.
in any draft. So do you lean on him and say, you know what, I know he's gonna do work again? I don't know about that, but for me, it's got to be Kenneth Walker, and I like Damian Pierce. Damian Pierce is, I think,
Okay.
really
You went
he
with
reminds
two young guys. Okay.
he reminds me of Foster from Houston.
Arian
Damian
Foster.
Pierce, yeah, he reminds me of Aaron Foster so much, just the way he runs and his run style and his cutting ability. I think he reminds me of him a lot. Other than that, I mean, between David Pierce, Kenneth Walker, Aaron Jones, I like Travis, but I think between those three, Miles Sanders did good last year, but he's in a different team, different
He's with the
situation.
Panthers, so we'll
Yes,
see.
but they do run the ball a lot. The
Yeah.
Panthers do run the ball a lot. So,
And
but
they have a rookie, so they're gonna also probably try to rely a lot
oh yeah,
on the running game. So that's some definitely room for Miles Sanders to. I don't think he matches what he did last year. What do you have
no, not even,
like
no,
1,200,
1297, I think.
1297
Yeah,
last year? I think he falls below that, but I think he can still be over 1,000.
I think, but those three, I think, is Damian Pierce, Kenneth Walker, and I think Aaron Jones is ones I think that
Aaron
could.
Jones is a sneaky good pick because also not a rookie, but Jordan Love is only and it's gonna be this is gonna be his first year going in as the starter. And right now, his average draft position is like in the 40s. So you're
And I
getting
think
Aaron
it's a
Jones in like the
steal.
third round. So yeah,
That's a steal.
that's a really
I'm
good pick.
trying to tell you because he gonna be leaned on so much
Mm-hmm.
because of Jordan Love that, and they've been working out together quite a bit this
Yeah,
offseason. So I think Jordan Love is probably gonna be he's gonna have a good year, but he gonna lean on Aaron Jones a whole lot.
I
So
think he has
I'm
to.
telling
Yeah.
you,
I
I
mean,
see it.
we're not talking wide receivers yet, but Christian Watson is the best thing they've got,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you can call him inconsistent. But
Yes,
it was just
yes.
his rookie year, so he's supposed to be inconsistent. But they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
need a veteran presence, and bam, like I said, there's gonna be a lot of Aaron Jones this
Yes,
year.
I think
And
Aaron
so
Jones is gonna be a
if you
steal
get
for
him
people.
late, as late as the third round pick, yeah, that put him with your. You can go wide receiver if you want, and then go Aaron Jones as your first running back, and it's a steal. So
Mm-hmm.
as Tony just pointed out, so I'm
Yeah, I
all
think
for
so
that.
too. I really do. I like Aaron Jones. I think he don't get the respect he used to get, which is
Yeah,
kind of crazy to me, because he used to be respected as a really good running back, but a lot of people now, I guess, don't see it that way. But I think Aaron Jones in that late of a round is really really good
yeah.
because you're getting a lot, you're getting passing and you're getting running, and he can give you a bunch of that this year. Watch.
Oh yeah.
So
Welcome Orlando Lewis to the show. Glad you could join us. You missed the first few rounds, tiers that is, but we're about to go to our fourth tier, and this is what Tony's been waiting for. No,
oh
nope,
god,
still nothing. Oh, I thought Tony was gonna be happy. Tony's still gonna be mad.
yeah,
He's,
he's gonna
he's
be all
gonna be
right.
super mad at us.
All
All
right,
right,
it's okay.
tier four running backs. We have DeAndre Swift with his first year in Philadelphia. Alexander Madison has his first year being the man in Minnesota. You see Dalvin Cook at the bottom, still without a job, which is crazy to me. David Montgomery and Jamar Gill splitting duties in Detroit. Isaiah Pacheco in Kansas City. Alvin Kamara and Jamal Williams in New Orleans. And we talked about question marks earlier, and you got a big question mark with with Dalvin Cook, just
Cool.
because we don't know
Yeah.
where he's going to play. But also with Alvin Kamara with the potential suspension. He pleaded down to lesser charges, so I think that helps the case.
Yeah.
Uh, but um, I don't know how high are you drafting Alvin Kamara this year?
I don't think he's gonna get suspended. I mean, I think they would have did it already.
Okay.
I mean, think about his training camp now. That suspension, if they was going to do anything, it seemed like it would have been done before training camp started, so they can know, okay, are we going to have you at this point, or are we not going to have you at this point? So for me, I think at the end of the day, I don't see him get suspended, and if it is, it's probably a couple games because I guess he got acquitted on one charge and then took a lesser charge on on the other thing. So at the end of the day, I'm going third round. I think he's a steal, honestly. Even if you get him late, because I think Jamal Williams does affect him a little bit,
Yeah.
but not as much. I think both of them can be on the field at the same time. To be honest with you,
The
in
thing
my opinion.
the thing that made Jamal Williams click last year was touchdowns.
Hmm.
He had 17 touchdowns last year. I think you see regression
Of
back
course.
to because
Yeah.
he, he he's good, and don't get me wrong, but when he ever been that good in your
Exactly.
fantasy team? So I think he comes a little bit down to earth.
Hmm.
But I'm of the impression just because it's Roger Goodell, he's gonna give out a suspension. But I'm with you. I think it'll be shorter. 2 weeks to 4 would be my guess. But the issue is when you don't know, you don't know. So
Well,
for me, I don't think I draft them as early as the third round, uh, just because you don't know when you're gonna how much of the season he's gonna play. But around maybe round 5, 6, I'm thinking about it. Who would you draft first, Jamal Williams or Alvin Kamara?
Alvin Kamara. I think Alvin Kamara still got a higher ceiling than
Yeah,
Jamal Williams.
definitely higher ceiling.
Um, for me, I'm going Jamal Williams. I mean, I'm sorry,
I
Alvin
mean, you
Kamara.
going Alvin
Alvin Kamara.
Kamara?
Alvin Kamara. Because I think if he does not get suspended, I think he's the starting running back. Period. Day one.
Yeah,
So I don't see what the problem is. And I think you're getting him late because you can get him probably as your third running back
yeah,
nowadays, which is a steal, to be honest with you.
yeah.
If even if you get like a higher running back and then a secondary running back, and you got Alvin Kamara as your third, that's a steal for me, to be honest
Oh
with
yeah.
you, truly.
Even
So
if he plays, let's say, no more than 12 games, I
still,
don't think it'll be that. That's still, like you said,
that's a steal.
that's your third running back.
That's
That
your
that
third
would be
running
great,
back.
and you can
No, that,
get him. I say this: you're gonna get Alvin Kamara a lot cheaper than you have in years in the past,
yeah.
and so
Okay.
I think you definitely make that move. Um, Going back to this tier grouping, what do you think of the situation with David Montgomery and Jamar Gibbs? Same question. Who are you grabbing first in that group?
I've been hearing a lot about Jamar Gibbs. They're trying to compare him to a CMC type of running back where he does a little bit of both. Um, but I think David Montgomery is going to he going to do the heavy lifting as far as goal line, first and second down, and then you're going to see a lot of Jamal Gibbs third on as far as third down. Maybe in the slot a little bit. I think they may use
Yeah,
him. Um, for me, that's a tough one. I'm gonna say Jamal Gibbs because Montgomery has a history of getting hurt.
yeah,
So that's one of the reasons. And I think if you're trying to get a mix of both receiving and running, I think you're gonna get that. But
yeah.
I mean, Montgomery is not nobody to sleep on. I think you still can get him too. You probably can get both of them, to be honest with you, and compare both of them in the backfield. But I like Gibbs. I like Gibbs a little bit better than Montgomery.
I was extremely excited about David Montgomery. In fact, in our dynasty league, we
Yeah,
talk about I made a deal to get David Montgomery because I knew he was gonna blow up. Then they drafted Jamar Gibbs
yeah,
afterwards, and I was like, oh well, crap.
yeah,
Because I think it's gonna hurt him. I think it's gonna hurt David Montgomery. That is just
yeah.
because Jamar Gibbs. Some people, I'm not saying they're on this show, but some people even suggested Jamar Gibbs is gonna end up having a better year than Bijan Robinson the other
Wow.
highly touted running back coming out of this group.
That says a lot.
That says a lot. I don't know if
That
I'm
says a
willing
lot.
to buy that, but I say this: David Montgomery is not without his own injury. He's known for
Of
missing a good
course.
3 or 4 games, and if that happens, Jamar Gibbs has
Yes,
to show.
definitely.
He hey. We saw what Jamal Williams did in that offense a year ago, and I think Jamar Gibbs has a chance to be something really special. I actually take Jamar Gibbs ahead of David Montgomery myself.
Me too.
And ADP suggests the same. He's going a couple of rounds ahead of David Montgomery. I think that's too much of a spread, but I think there's enough for both of them to eat. But I'm a Gibbs guy, and I only regret I won't have a chance to grab him in our dynasty league because I was too good last year. But in redraft, watch out for me.
Uh,
I will be picking
I,
up a
I talked to
couple.
somebody today,
Yeah,
and they said they're gonna get Jamal Gibbs from you. Don't you worry. He's not gonna last long
yeah.
in our redraft league. I mean, I'm sorry, in our dynasty league.
Oh, well,
So
in the dynasty league, of course, he should
no,
be.
he's not gonna last.
He
I
should be in the
talked.
first 3 or 4 picks. I would
Oh
say.
yeah, I already
Yeah,
talked to somebody. He's gonna be going pretty early. Don't you worry
as he
about.
should, as he
Yeah, he's
should.
gonna be going pretty early. So yeah, you know what? The one I think that's gonna really explode though,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he's gonna have a good year. Alexander Madison. I think Alexander Madison is gonna be awesome this year. And I've been down on him a few, the few times he subbed in when when Cook was hurt and he didn't
Yeah,
do too well. But the last 2 times he did, he was really, really good. And I think by them really just saying, look, you're the guy now, man, that's gonna be big.
how good do you think he has the chance to be? We have him in our fourth tier, so we don't have him. Uh, is
And
he a
man,
good RB2,
I
RB
think
three?
he's only here because we haven't seen a full season
Okay,
of Alexander Madison. Now, I think he can go as high as tier two.
okay.
I think he can get in that conversation. I think he's gonna be good though, because
Is he gonna be Dalvin Cook good, or you put him below there?
um
And
I
and,
think
and not Dalvin Cook at his peak. Dalvin Cook last year when you started to see him fall off a little
I
bit.
think he does better than Dalvin Cook last year.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this year he's gonna take off, and then as far as when teams try to figure him out, then the biggest question is can he play a stretch of 17, 18
Yeah.
games like a full
The,
season?
the interesting thing going for him is the fact that he really has, at least as the team is currently constructed,
Yes,
there's
no matter
no
behind him.
competition at
No,
all.
he's
So
getting he's
now
big.
can he like you said, can he carry that load?
Yeah,
I don't know. He like I said this past year last year he did well when he filled in, but
yeah,
some of those games he filled in, you know, teams like Detroit, and so
yeah,
we'll see what happens after a full season. I
yeah.
don't have him that high. I don't have high expectations. If he gives you bottom RB2 numbers, I would be very pleased. The good thing about him is you're getting him pretty low. It's not like you're paying the Dalvin Cook price that you used to pay for him.
I mean, but
So
see, but that's the thing. If you want to say you want to do the zero running backs early,
he's a great zero running
he
back guy.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. He's one of those guys you can get to fill in and go zero running back
yeah,
early. You see, so I mean, it's guys like that. It's like Gibbs, him, and those guys. If you really want to play that game and say, you know what, cool. I just want to go Jamar and I want to go Jefferson first. I want to get my receivers first.
yeah.
By all means, you do that. But these guys are the ones that probably can fill in because you're gonna need running backs.
You
So
are.
you can go get those guys, and it might can give you might can strike gold with a Madison or a Gibson or something like that.
He's gonna have that. Like you said, he's gonna have the opportunity. This Tony
Yeah,
says he's gonna take him as well because he's gonna take it. Going back to that zero running back, skip. Like you said, get your tight end, get your
yeah,
wide receivers, and then get Alexander Madison. Maybe you can team him up for David Montgomery, or
yeah.
even the way
A,
people are
a
drafting
Swift,
Aaron Jones, even.
yeah,
Just so hey, you can put together a nice little group of running backs and wait on
If
them.
you don't
So
if you don't want to go
if you
get
don't
those high running backs, then yeah, you
if you don't
definitely
want to
can
pay
do
the
that.
Christian McCaffrey
The
price,
price, yeah.
which I
I
don't.
mean,
I'm not.
definitely.
I'm not. I already said I'm out on Christian McCaffrey
Oh
this
gosh,
year.
she said I'm
I
out.
liked him last year at the discount. You were kind of getting this year because you're gonna have the second pick in redraft to get him, and you might need the first. So
Yeah, I agree with
I'm all for waiting. Let's hit this 50. Finally, we're gonna get this time. I promise you, Tony. We're gonna get to the guys you like. Is this one, Matt? Is this me? I think this is me.
you. Me,
We,
you can take it though. It don't
we've
matter.
got Cam Akers, who I think could be a pleasant surprise
Okay.
out of this group. I'm not 100% convinced on it yet. We got AJ Dillon, James Conner. Speaking of going zero running back, he's another one that I
Yeah.
think you can grab really late, and he has no competition.
None.
Brian Robinson Jr. and Antonio Gibson. Khalil Herbert takes over as the lead spot in the absence of David Montgomery. Rashad White in Tampa Bay. Speaking of no competition. And then we got a couple of guys in Buffalo, James Cook and Damian Harris. Um, First, get your impressions of these players, and then I'll put in why I kind of like Cam Akers. Maybe
Ah,
I'm
no.
undecided on how much I like him, but
I think Khalil. Now I'm gonna say Khalil Herbert, but I'm gonna put
mm-hmm.
like a star beside it, an asterisk beside it, because I think his quarterback. It's like any running back in Baltimore is probably not good because the quarterback is going to run for more yards than the actual running back. Now, can Khalil Herbert still be good and Justin Fields still do what he do? I think so because Khalil Herbert can catch out the backfield. He's still a good receiving running back. Um,
right.
I like Khalil Herbert. I think Khalil Herbert out of this whole list. And no disrespect to Brian Robinson, but I like Brian Robinson too. But I think Gibson is going to be involved a lot, which they did early last year before he phased out for some reason. Um, Tony can speak on that. But I like Gibson, though. I like Gibson. I like Robinson. But I think at the end of the day, I think Khalil Herbert is probably going to be the one that does the most out of this list. James Conner, yes, he doesn't have anybody behind him.
Yeah.
But how much does he have left in the tank? That's the question.
And how good are they going to be if Colt
Yes.
McCoy is the starter for a while? Yeah.
Now, I'm not jumping on that AJ Dillon train. Don't give me that 1A, 1B crap this year. I'm not doing it.
We fall for that last year.
I fell for it last year, and I'm
fell
not
hard
doing
for
this
that
year.
last year. Yeah.
Nope. No, you cannot get me again. So, nope, I'm good. I'm staying away from AJ Dillon, and you can have him. So, no, don't want him. No.
And watch this video. He actually blows up.
Watch. Just watch. He gonna do so good this year, and I'm gonna be like, man, I should have got him this year. But at the end of the day, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Well, since we made Tony wait so long, please tell us why we are hating on Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson in our comments. And I will add that I actually think both of those guys could be really successful, only because Riverboat Ron wants to do a 2 running back. Well, they have the new offensive coordinator coming from the University of Georgia, and I think even though their offensive coordinator went to Georgia. I mean, he's the one who went to Baltimore. But they do have a new offensive coordinator. They have Bieniemy. That's the name I was trying to. They have Bieniemy there, running the running backs, and he's going to, I think, utilize both guys.
Yes.
He's going to do Brian Robinson is the hard hitting guy. Antonio Gibson is that Swiss Army knife, who's kind of a wide receiver in himself. And like we said before with Desmond Ridder, they're going to need a strong running game to decide to bring Sam Howell along a bit slowly. So I think there's enough for both of those guys to do well, and you're going to get both of those guys very very cheaply, I think.
Yes, so, definitely.
So they're good, but yeah, go ahead.
I don't know. I just think is Brian Robinson going? Because I mean, from what he did last year, can he be much better than he was
I
last year?
think so.
Because he
He didn't get
started.
shot this year, so
Gosh, we won't go break up the shooting, man. Come on, man. The
yeah.
man got shot last year.
He's already starting off the season better, and so yeah, I think he can definitely be better than he was a year ago.
Well, I guess Gibson for me probably is a little bit better than Robinson because he gives you a little
I
bit
I
more.
think he's yeah.
For me, just for me personally, I think Gibson is a little bit better than Robinson because
I think he's more versatile.
yes,
Yeah.
Robinson is a probably he's that in between first down, second down running back. He doesn't catch much out in the backfield. Gibson gives you a little bit of both of them. And I think they went to Robinson a little too quick last year without giving Gibson a chance.
Yeah.
And I think they should at least give him a chance to kind of see what he can do instead of just putting him on kick return and just leaving him there. But you notice when he got work in the offense in the receiving,
Yeah.
I think that was part of the reason why he did. And Tony bring up a good thing, a good statement here. Is Sam Howell gonna help them out because it goes back to the Bijan conversation to where the quarterback is not that good. Do they say, all right, look, we're gonna make this quarterback beat us and we're gonna throw 8 in the box? That's what it comes down to. Can he be successful to make those running backs good? That's the question.
Hey, he beat the Cowboys last year, and I think
Oh
that's the
gosh.
only thing he has to do. If he can, if he can do that again, I think we're good. But there's a lot of people that have some faith in Sam Howell. I need to see it. But I say this, and I say the same thing about Desmond Ritter. They're both young. They're both, I think, are limited, but they
Yeah.
are both surrounded by a plethora of talented
Yes,
skills
definitely.
players. And
Definitely.
Washington, at wide receiver, they've got some monsters.
I love their receivers.
They
I
have
love their
great receivers. Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson are both very talented running backs.
yeah.
They have a defense there, so I think they're gonna make this a easy job, if you will, for us. Hey, Tyler Haneke looked good in that system, so it's not like you need a whole lot. I know that was Tony's guy last year, but
He loved Heineke for some
yeah,
reason. I don't know
I
why.
think Sam Howell is going to be serviceable. He'll be better than Carson Wentz was. I give you that. But
Ooh, Carson Wentz was bad. He was so bad last year. Lord have mercy.
here's who I'm going to go back to Cam Akers and say why I think it could be really successful. We saw last year, at the end of last year, Cam Akers turned it on, and he looked like what people were expecting him to be from his rookie year when he had like that. Remember in his first year he had that 200-yard game, and everybody was like, "Oh, Cam Akers is gonna be the guy."
Yeah.
The problem with last year was also he started off the year even he was in a doghouse, and there
Very
was a
much.
moment when he might not even be on the team, and he was actually off the team for a while, unofficially,
Yeah.
and people were thinking he was going to get traded, and that's the question. That's why I don't have him higher in my ratings than where we have him at tier 5. There's always that question mark about, okay, outside of football, what's going on and how
Yeah.
would that translate? But we talked about guys with no competition. Cam Akers really doesn't have competition over there with the Rams.
I mean, he
And
don't.
assuming Stafford's back healthy, that
Yeah.
offense is going to be really good. And that gives the opportunity for Cam Akers to slide. We have him in tier 5, but I can see him easily being a tier 2 kind of player if if
So
all
let
the
me
things
ask you
line up
this:
together. So he's a
Dalvin,
gamble. He's a gamble to
Dalvin
me,
Cook,
but he's a
though,
gamble that
is
could pay off. What do you say
is,
about that?
is Dalvin Cook? Say, I guess the landing spot for Dalvin Cook. Does that change?
You think if the Rams land him,
No, what I'm saying
or
is, so you got James Cook and you got Harris
oh, you
on
going back
this
to okay,
list. But what I'm saying is they're on this list as a tier 5.
yeah,
Now, does that change anything? Say Dalvin Cook goes to Buffalo.
gotcha.
Does that change their rankings? Do they slide down? Because for me, they slide
Yeah.
down. Matter of fact, they slide all the way out. Um,
The sad part would be Dalvin Cook doing that to his little brother, and like you're completely pushing him to the bench. But we right now they're tier 5. And I've said before, I'm not a big fan of Buffalo running backs. We
Because
haven't seen them.
his name
We
is
haven't
Josh
seen them.
Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen is gonna suck up the air. We haven't
Yeah.
seen a running back really be successful. Devin Singletary had a slight moment his rookie year, and now he's not even with the team. I
Nope.
don't know if James Cook. Uh, he was a rookie last year, so we have to see more. Um, but if it's Dalvin Cook, I think they put more trust in him. So I could see him jumping in and pretty much making those other guys mostly irrelevant. They at least drop down to tier 6, which has a lot of players in there that.
That's all I was about to say. Do we really need do we really need to announce tier 6? Because
We should.
okay, I mean a lot of those guys really they might not make the roster. I mean, but that's just me personally. I mean, you have a few, but not many.
Well, here's the deal. Since you talked it up, let's just go straight to it. This one's on you.
Let's go. We got
We have every running back possible.
yeah. Kendrick Miller. I'm probably gonna chop this dude name up. Zach Chabarnik. Kaepernick. Devon. What is this guy's name?
A chain.
It's
A chain.
A chain. Elijah Mitchell, Simone P. Ryan, Rashad Penny, Jarek McKinney, Tyler Algier, Deontay Foreman, Devin Singletary, Jalen Warner, Kenneth Gainwell, Raheem Mostert, Cordell Patterson. I don't like this list.
No.
I'm sorry. I probably butchered a bunch of their names, but I don't like this list. I don't. I mean,
there's not anything there to really get excited.
Well, let's do this. I'm gonna take 2 names out. You take 2 names out, and that you think gonna do something.
I'm gonna go to probably the least likely, but interesting guy. And let me skip the rookies because for the moment we're gonna just leave them off and say the rookies are there for your dynasty purposes, and there's always just filling in somebody to do something. But there's a guy on this tier 6 list that has a lot of potential interest for me. I don't know if or when it would be in the last rounds. Kenneth Gainwell is intriguing to me for 2 reasons. One, the only other guys on the list, DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny, both have big histories of injuries.
That's true.
And so, like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna draft them, but I'm gonna at least have my eyes on him on that waiver wire list because there's an opportunity for Gainwell to really to do well, just because Rashad Penny hasn't had a healthy season his entire career in the NFL.
Not even.
Maybe that changes this year with a change of scenery. Maybe. DeAndre Swift has missed multiple games as well every year. There were some questions whether he's built to really be a workload guy, and that DeAndre Swift is the same guy in Detroit where they picked up Adrian Peterson as a running back just because he wasn't able to carry the load by himself. So there's a chance for Kenneth Gainwell to put up some numbers. Not numbers that are going to win you your fantasy league, but they might win you a fantasy week for buy-in fin or off of injury. So he's one guy, again, aside from the rookies, that I think might be worth a gamble at the end of your draft.
Now, let me ask you this. Do any of these guys, first of all, who is Tank Bigsby? I don't know who that is.
Tank Bigsby. Going to Tank Bigsby. Let's go to, because here's the person who really put them on my radar is our producer. So we're going to pass the mic. We're going to pass the mic to our producer. Go for it.
Explain that one to
I
me.
mean, well, I can't explain it in like great detail, but Tank, he is in Jacksonville, and I mean, there's no one else there, but I can't say his name, but it's
Travis Etienne.
Travis Etienne. Is that it?
Etienne.
Yeah, and so I mean, there's no one else. So I mean, come on, he's got to be good. Their quarterback's getting better. Their team, I mean, they went to the playoffs. Granted, they didn't go far, but they went. This boy is gonna be good. I would say for dynasty purposes, it might be a worthy pickup. Redraft. I don't know. That's a whole other thing. But tank might be worth looking at. I'm just
Oh,
saying, it's
oh.
something to look at.
I say this. Um, it's Travis Etienne season, but let's not forget the fact that we've seen Travis. I'm not 100% convinced that the Jaguars know fully what they want to do with Travis Etienne. We saw the first year with Urban Meyer there. He said, "I'm going to
Yeah,
use him as a wide receiver." It didn't work out just because he was hurt. In the
yeah.
second year, Travis Etienne had some really good performances, but there's the question about whether he can be a three down back. I honestly don't see him as that guy. They're gonna need someone to spell him, and that's why I think Travis. I mean Tank Bigsby. For one, his name is Tank, so
I mean,
you
I'm
can't
no,
get
no,
you can't
because
get cooler than a name for
I
Tank.
mean, I'm asking because
But
I didn't know who he was, and I'm
yeah,
I'm thinking like Tank Bigsby. I'm trying to figure now, and I know a lot of football players' names. I just
uh,
didn't know who he was, and I'm like,
yeah. Well,
don't sound familiar, but okay. I mean,
hey, he was a big recruit. He was the who came out in the draft ahead of him. Bijan Robinson uh, uh, was out there. Jamar Gibbs, of course. I'm trying to remember what his draft number was, but he came when he went into the recruit class. He was a really big name, and in
okay,
college he had some good production. But what makes him to Sydney's point, what makes him interesting is there's really Travis Etienne and there's Tank Bigsby. Tank
okay.
Tank Bigsby is gonna get carries. Now, how soon he gets the carries will be my biggest question. We're talking about the biggest question to me is gonna be how soon he gets because rookies.
Yo, he got stuck. Yeah.
The problem that comes in with a lot of rookies is they don't get initial shine because
Oh
you got to
God.
learn how to pass block first. But there's gonna be a need, and I'm 100% convinced there's
He
gonna be
was
a need for
oh,
another running back
just
Oh
so
to
God.
get a lot of carries this season because
Ooh.
I don't see as much as I like Travis Etienne, I don't see him as a three down back. He is a guy built for running back by committee. And Tank, his name is Tank. He's
yeah.
6 feet tall.
So
He's 213 pounds. He's a big guy, and he's going to get carries and potentially goal line carries,
did you
which could
did you
make him
want to know
very
when he was?
beneficial. So what are you saying?
Jeez, Louise.
No,
I'm just saying.
No, because
Okay,
you wanted to
I
know
get
when
it,
he was
but
picked.
still,
yeah, yeah. When was he picked?
He was third round, number 88.
Yeah, third round.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's pretty okay. Hey, I
So
mean
yeah,
that's we'll
there's some
see.
draft. We're not talking the singer, but there's a lot of
Yo,
draft
you
capital
gotta
in.
stop with that. Lord. I
I
mean,
tell you like this. He has what he's from Auburn. He had
okay.
all over 2,900 career yards rushing. He's 25 career touchdowns. He's a guy who's going to I think he's gonna make some noise. He's one of those guys that you're gonna get very late in a redraft. He might not even get drafted in a lot of redraft leagues.
I don't
Just
see
just
I
just be
mean
real with it. But in dynasty, I think there's a bigger potential there of a guy you can put on your team and stash. But I
mm,
honestly do believe that this year, maybe not at the beginning because going with that rookie thing, but going towards the middle end of the year, he's gonna be one of those guys that I think is gonna have the opportunity to have the ball in his hand just because. And this is me again saying I don't know whether the Jaguars themselves want Travis Etienne to be an he's not a Najee Harris.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? He's not a Jonathan Taylor. He's at best an Austin Eckler, which would be really good because he can do he can pass, he can catch passes out the backfield, and he can rush. But I don't think he's that kind of guy who's going to get that many. Austin Eckler gets a lot of touches. I don't think Travis Etienne is going to get those kind of touches. One, I think Jacksonville is going to want to pass the ball a lot because they got Calvin Ridley this year, and I think that's gonna be, they're gonna let Trevor Lawrence cook to use Russell Wilson's expression. So I think there's room for two running backs to be successful in that team. So.
Well, I think a lot of these guys are more like handcuffs.
They're all
Elijah Mitchell's a handcuff. Jerry McKinnon is a handcuff. Tyler Algier's a handcuff.
He's a big handcuff, yeah.
Jalen Warner is a handcuff. Raheem Mostert is a handcuff. I mean, a lot of these guys. Now, the one guy that probably stands out a little bit more is Cordell Patterson because he does a little bit more than just run. He can pass. He can receive, kick off. So he gives you a little bit more than the rest of these guys. But a lot of these guys are handcuffs. A whole lot of them.
What's your thoughts on your guy, Elijah Mitchell, in this group?
He's a handcuff. I mean, we know the history of Christian McCaffrey getting hurt. Now, I'm not wishing him to get hurt, but we know how that works for him. Yeah, we know how that works for him sometimes. So he's somebody that you kind of keep in the back burner a little bit. You handcuff just in case. But I also think we're going to run the ball quite a bit. I don't think he's going to just be going to the wayside. He's too talented, first of all, to just put him to the wayside. I think he's still going to get his 12 to 15 carries a game. Even though Christian McCaffrey is there,
if he gets
I think he's still getting that. I think he's still getting that, personally. Because he got it last year. He got 12 to 15 carries last year with him and Christian McCaffrey was back there. So I think it's the same thing. And they don't want to burn out Christian McCaffrey early in the year. So I think they're going to give him about 12 to 15 carries, in my opinion. Now, I would definitely, because I picked him up in Dynasty just to kind of keep, because he may get traded, to be honest with you, to a team that needs a running back. Who knows? He might not make the cut. I don't know. But hopefully if he does, he goes somewhere he kind of get a chance to play. But I still think we need him more than anything just because of the injury pattern that CMC has had over the years. So that's, for me, it works that way for me. But I don't know.
Well, hey, let us know in the comments or hit us up on our social. Hey, here's something we didn't talk about. We have that bird up there for Twitter. It's X now. Maybe we need to replace.
We need to fix that.
With X's.
Yeah, the X.
But hit us up. Let us know if we got something wrong in your opinion. A player you think should be higher or lower. And let us know why Tank Bigsby is going to be the guy. I see.
Y'all should take him first round. Please take him first round.
Oh no! Look, if you hear nothing else, anyone in that tier 6 grouping is the guys you're grabbing at the end of your draft.
Not even. Not even.
At the very no, I think there's some guys that are worth taking a shot at the end of the draft. Come on, get out of here.
No, not even. No.
All those guys.
Waiver wire.
Well, that's where a lot of them will be. Yes.
Yeah, waiver wire, definitely. Yeah, he catch him there. Okay.
All right.
Hey, you know what it is, though. We here. We can go on. We'll see you in, 2 weeks?
In 2 weeks, we're going to end with the wide receivers and tight ends. And maybe we need to get our mock drafts together because we got we're going to invite you in on it too, Tony, because you're in that league too. Yeah. We need to get some stuff together. So maybe we'll put that together. Even if it's not on the show, we'll put it out.
But
as some in between shows material.
You know what I think we should do?
Yeah.
I think we should. Obviously, we're gonna do a mock draft online. We're gonna do a mock draft on the show. But if you want to come on and do a mock draft with us, hit us on our Twitter pages and let us know, and we We'll bring you on to do a mock draft with us.
Sounds good.
Let's have some fun. I mean, see how we draft.
All right.
Let us know.
That's it. So thanks everybody for being part of the show. We'll be back in 2.
Okay.
And until then, y'all take care.
All right.
Peace out.